So it's a new month, and that means there's a whole bunch of new minis available. So I'm going to be going across those in this video. I have everything timestamped below, so if you have to fancy sci-fi, terrain, or anything like that, just click to the bit that you want to go to and head on over there. I'm also going to put a link down below in the description as well. The request that I had last month was to have an overview of all of these with all the links, so that way you could find them. So I'll have that on my website. It does mean that you'll have to use my stupid notes that I use for myself, which sometimes confuses me, but hopefully you'll be able to figure it out. So first surprising thing that I found going through this month's miniatures are, there's like no Skaven stuff. With the launch of Age of Sigmar 4.0 and Skaven Tide, I thought that it would have just been Skaven. There's like no Skaven, which is crazy. But let's get on with it and kick it off with fantasy. So first up, we've got Rescale Miniatures, and I've put here Forest Warriors. So these are some wild looking, like buggy and forest creatures. Let me find the overview. So first up, we've got these, and I think they look really, really fun. So this is all like, I can't remember what they've actually been renamed in Age of Sigmar, but all like your forest spirits and sprites and all of that. And you've got like your big old tree warriors. You've got these cool looking bugs with things on there as well. For some reason, the display isn't looking particularly great, but we'll move past that. You can make out just about what they're going to be about. Like these big tree men here, these look absolutely awesome, and then all the different warriors. And there's a whole host here that you're going to get your hands on. So there's absolutely loads of stuff. So you're going to get all of like your basic units, you're going to get all like your big tanky units, you're going to get all like your flyers and your cavalry and stuff like that. So whether or not it's like Age of Sigmar you're playing, or even Old World to an extent, you're going to get a decent amount of stuff there. So that is Rescale Miniatures. And then moving on to the next one is Artisan Guild, and they've gone back for their orcs. Now I've got their original orc set and I loved it. So when I saw they were doing this one, I was very happy. So there we go. So that's an overview of your orc set by Artisan Guild. Again, you get a lot of stuff here. So whether or not you are doing a skirmish game, or if you're going to be doing an army game like Age of Sigmar, Old World or something like that, I like the look of their orcs. They're almost like a go-between between like old Hammer style orcs and new orcs, or World of Warcraft orcs meets Warhammer orcs. They're a really nice looking hybrid. I like their like troll things as well. They're these sort of like river trolls, but then they can also be used as cavalry. So I think that's kind of smart. Nice looking thing there. You got this one little piece of terrain which isn't overly interesting, but the rest of it looks really fun. And you've got this big old, like, I don't know, manticore lion dragon here as well. So a lot to like with that one if you're into your orc stuff. Again, they're all modular as well, so you can change out the hands and the weapons and stuff like that, which is always nice to have. Next up is Gammock. And Gammock this month has gone wild. And they appear a lot on the channel, but wow, this month they've really, really gone to town. I'd say the only downside to what I'm showing you now with Gammock is it's not as though it's pinpointed to one type of army or even two types of army. So if you're mixing it up and you're just after one specific thing, they don't have that. They have loads and loads of specific things. So we're on fantasy at the moment, so let's stick to that before I get sidetracked. But you're getting orcs now, which I think is the first time that they've been doing that, or at least recently. Empire, this one, these look really nice. Some dwarves as well, so obviously you get your cannons and artillery, and also your Tomb Kings. I really like the look of these that they're riding on. So there's a lot to like with this. Empire on Pegasus as well. So again, if you're into Old World at the moment and you're building out those armies, or again, Age of Sigmar by extension, there's a lot there to like and a lot of stuff. And we'll come back onto them as well when we get to Sci-Fi. Next up is Parasite Collectibles. And this is a weird one. It's a man with a baby. I should probably make a separate category for like statue type things or things that would be fun to paint. It's this guy here with this baby in a bundle. And at first, I didn't see his armor. So I thought the baby had been shot by arrows. And I was like, that's kind of grim. But no, he's got some armor there that's deflected the arrows. I really like this. It looks like a really nice piece to paint. And I think, again, they've been on the channel pretty much every month when I've been doing these videos because they make some beautiful looking sculpts. The detail on it is just amazing. Unfortunately, there's not a version without baby. There's a version without wolves, which again is quite nice, so depending on what you're sort of using it for. I kind of wish there was a version without baby because it's a really specific thing. But I guess you could, I don't know, it could be like protect the VIP or something like that. And you could have some kind of fun campaign or skirmish game or something like that where the objective is to get him and capture baby. I don't know. But it's a beautiful looking sculpt. There's so much going on here. And these wolves look absolutely amazing. Just there's so much to like about it. But again, very specific. And like I said, I should probably make another section which is like nice, paintable, beautiful looking sculpts. So next up is Highlands Miniatures and Tomb Kings. So they're not my cup of tea. I've never been massively into Tomb Kings, but they are, again, beautiful sculpts. They look fantastic. Very much fit with that whole old Warhammer, old Hammer style stuff. Again, if you are at the moment into Old World, then kind of look no further. And I assume if you're into 3D printing and Old World, you've probably checked out Highlands Miniatures beforehand. A lot going on. Got all the infantry, artillery, big old mummy boy here, people coming out of the ground, big old doggy crocodilian creatures. A lot to like here. All of these bits are modular as well, so you can just kind of, customize them to your heart's content and go wild. Next up, Vevictus. And I've put here Empire and Buckethead. These were quite fun. So again, you've got like your standard, I guess, like Empire type troops, but I prefer like the hats and stuff like that. I really like these ones. But the thing that really drew me to this, that made me put them on the list in the end, was they've also got some random things. I mean, this is wild. Like, I have no idea what's going on. But Buckethead, I mean, it's worked. The bucket has received an arrow and saved him. And then Bell person. There's some really random stuff there. But again, some really fun bits. Some nice looking Empire troops there. And then some really random things that you could throw onto your board as well, just to mix things up a bit. And then next we've got Beholder's Miniatures. And they appear on the channel pretty much monthly now. And it's Chaos versus Elves. And again, a lot to like with these. So first up, you've got all like your chaotic overview and some of the elves in the background there. And these are really, really nice sculpts. The things that I like about these is big, chonky weapons, even on like the elves, which are more slender and stuff. All the spear shafts, all the weapons, all the handles. They're big, they're thick, they're going to print well, and they're going to last and take a bit of a pounding on the battlefield as well, without snapping, which is nice. I love this sculpt. I think it looks fantastic. This like demonic dragon lion beastie with the chaotic rider on top. I think that looks absolutely amazing. And then you've got all like the elven units as well. I really like the two opposing forces that they do, and they do them really, really well. Throughout the whole thing as well, you get obviously your basic units on foot, so like your barbarian warriors, and the elves, here they are. They're like heavier cavalry elves. I really like them. There's a lot to like with these ones, so definitely worthwhile checking out, depending on what type of army you're into. A lot of cavalry, foot soldiers, and those kind of like big beastie commanders. So moving on to sci-fi, and we'll kick it off with Arc Villain Games, and I put Strider Men, which will mean nothing to anybody, but the new goofy, or not new, but the newish goofy Warhammer for AdMech, the guy on stilts, that looks a fun concept, but I don't think Games Workshop pulled it off particularly well. I feel like Arc Villain Games did a really good job with these. So you've got these like Strider Men, as I said, and they are basically on big old stilts with these like funny proddy weapons. I love this big old walker thing here as well. And again, you've got some more Strider Men here with these big cannons on the shoulder. I really like them. They've taken that really goofy concept and done a really good job with that. So if you're into your AdMech stuff, I think these look fun. I would have a lot of fun with these, but yeah, I like them. And then next up, I've got Station Forge. And again, they've got loads of random stuff. So we'll go through this and I'll pull up a couple of my favorites, the ones that really stood out to me. And the first one is, they've brought out this guy. So really, really fast reaction since, again, Games Workshop have basically only just shown it off. But that Necromunda dude who's got the little Gene Stealer pet, and they've basically got their own version here with this, not a Gene Stealer. It's a really nice sculpt. It's basically inspired for that. But if you're into Necromunda or Gene Stealer cults, then this is a nice to have. It's modular as well, so you can change bits up. But I really like it. I think it looks fantastic. It's very, very close to the Games Workshop one. And the fact that it came out so soon after is flying a little bit close to the sun, but I like it. The other ones they've got is these. I really like these enforcers. And again, all modular. You can change them all up and everything else like that. I've recently done a whole bunch of their Grimguard stuff. I might have to print some of these off as well to go with them. Really like the look of them. And depending on what you're using it for, I think they'd be a nice addition to some kind of sci-fi army. Next up, going back to Gamuk. And again, they've done a whole bunch of stuff. Let's see if we've got just a sci-fi overview. Here we go. So their sci-fi overview this month. There is so much going on. There is Tyranids, so you've got all of these. And I really like this Tyranid right in the middle here. I think it looks fantastic. To be fair, this flyer looks amazing as well. So some really, really good stuff. I absolutely adore their like guardsmen, like heavy units here with these big like laser cannons and stuff. I don't know what it is about them, but I really, really like the look of these sculpts. And then you've obviously got some of the commanders, some chaos units, some chaotic tanks as well. So if you're into chaos, you've got your stuff. And then I think for the first time, I might be wrong, but they've got these big old Necron beasties here as well. They look amazing. I really, really like the look of these. There's so much going on here. Again, like I said, they kind of suffer from the fact that if you're only into Necrons, for example, they've got that, but you'd probably want the whole thing of Necrons. But there's so much there to like. So if you're into sci-fi, loads of things there. If you want to print some things off for mates, for example, to get them into the hobby, then it's probably worthwhile checking out. Next up, we've got Den of Imagination, and I've put big chaos units and tanks. Now these are like these big old chaos like walkers or stompers or whatever we're going to call them, and some tanks as well. I really like these. Again, they look distinctly plaguey. If you're into Nurgle, then you can't go too far wrong. They're disgusting and horrible and look absolutely beautiful. Like these tanks, there's a big old mouth coming out the front here, all the plaguey, like organic pieces on them. It's like, is that a heart or is that a mouth? Again, so much going on. Really like them. And these big old stompy ones, I've never liked the Games Workshop. It's not a Hellbrute, is it? That's like a Dreadnought, but the big one on the forelegs. I've never liked the look of it. I've always thought it looks a bit odd. But these have pulled it off really well. I like that, and all the plague and organic bits. Nice. I really like that. So that's Den of Imagination with some Nurgly bits. Next up, we've got Maelstrom Design Works. I put a big old tank for this one. So I think this was just one big tank, but it comes in multiple sort of like bits that you can put it into. So this Goliath pattern super heavy crawler. I think this looks fantastic. Again, you can change it up. You can print it in different bits here as well. So you go through it to give you a bit of a flavour. I think, again, be nice to have with a different type of army. I always like to cover tanks and everything every so often because it's not that many of them, or they're always part of a set. So it's nice that you can get this. You can print it on multiple different types of printer as well. So even though it's big, it comes in multiple different parts. It's sliced up nicely, so that way you don't have to worry too much. Although most printers now are getting to that size where they can probably print almost anything in one go. Next up, Anvil Digital Forge and Sisters of Battle. Now these I think look fantastic. Let's pull up the preview. So let's scroll through them here. You've got all the different bits. You can change out all the heads. You can change out all the different faces and everything. And somebody mentioned as well that with these, the bits that are in different colours can be changed out. So I think you can like remove the hair and change out the different hairstyles, which I think is quite fun. All the different bodies. And I mean, there's so much customization for these. It's crazy. Like different, I guess, leg poses. But then you've got all the different bits that you can add onto them. You can take those bits off if you wanted to. And it kind of gives you a flavour of the other bits you can do here. And then all your different weapons. It's just a whole load of stuff. So if you're into Sisters of Battle, I don't think you can really go too far wrong with that. Some nice bits there. And you'll be able to just go wild and really make those units your own. So that's always a nice look. Next up, we are moving on to D&D. I didn't have that many this month for these, but first up it is DM Stash, and I've put Floaty Dragon and Mind Flayers. So I should probably close some tabs down. Let's pull this up. So I really like the look of these. There is a lot going on. Let's see if we can find the full preview. So here we go. So this is their like July monthly release, and there's some really, really nice looking like heroic units, and then some enemy units for them to fight. You've got like Mind Flayers. And there's this really fun looking floaty dragon. There he is. The Ark of the Enlightened. Like, it looks really random. It's like a floaty dragonfish. Don't know. And then obviously you've got a Hellhound, the Eldritch Flayer Dragon. There's a lot to like. I really like the look of this set. There's a lot going on there. Just, again, I like the ones that kind of pique my interest because you see something in there and you're like, I want to know the story about it. I want to know the story behind. Yeah, the story behind Floaty Dragonfish. Next up, we've got Cast and Play, and they've done a big old townsfolk set. And I love it when they do things like this. So any D&D creator, like, just something that can help me link all of my campaigns together. So whether or not that is a townsfolk set or a village set, I want to have more that I can do some world building with. And not many of them seem to do it. They focus on the monthly adventure, which makes sense. But I would love to see, like, every month you find an NPC at the end of the adventure, and that kind of builds into their welcome pack. And maybe the NPC is the tavern owner, and then you get a tavern to go with it as well. Just something like that, a little bit more flair, so I can build out my village or rebuild a village or whatever. But yeah, townsfolk set, there's loads of stuff going on there as well. They've also got a throwback set to go with it, once it loads. Here we go. So again, some more townsfolk type people as well. So you're basically getting 2 lots of townsfolk and a couple of little enemies there to go with it. And I think that's great if you are into any kind of D&D and you've not already subbed to these. It's probably worthwhile doing it because that way you get a whole load of townsfolk to go with your adventure, just to kind of flesh it out a bit. And last on the D&D list is a Dragon Trapper's Lodge, which I have put a Western Undead. Yes, these, I feel like every month at the moment, Dragon Trapper's Lodge are killing it. Like, they're just making really intriguing random stuff. And it just absolutely captures my interest every single time. Let's get to the overview. Here we go. So Shadows over Silver Creek. And there is so much going on here. You've got these, like, a werewolf beasties. These, and then all like your gunslingers. But where is it? There we go. Mechanical horse with rider. These amazing looking dragons. It's like a bat-dragon combination, which looks fantastic. All this undead stuff. And then their next bit. Here we go. So the Gunslinger Lodge. So you've got all the lodges and stuff like that. So you've got all the terrain to go with it. All of the like scatter terrain and these like evil cactuses, which are crazy. A mechanical dragon type thing. And then all of these guys, like the musicians. Really, really like it. Dragon Trapper's Lodge, just killing it. And that, I kind of want to print it. I say that every month. But I just think it looks so much fun. There is so much going on there. And just like this undead Western type theme, I think that's amazing. Okay, so next up, we are moving on to terrain. So I've got Infinite Dimensions and Rural Ruins. So this was a really nice pack of basically rural ruins. So like a completely ruined village. Let's load that up. There we go. So that's your overview of it. So you get all your like ruined little kind of village buildings and stuff like that. And then a whole bunch of scattered terrain, which is always nice. So again, if you're using it for D&D or wargaming or I guess any skirmish type gaming as well, there's a whole lot of stuff there to use, which is always nice. I like having some ruins just to kind of play around. It gives a bit more playability and a bit more theme to your games. So next up is Forbidden Print, and I've gone for Gothic Ruins for this one. So again, a nice thing to have. A lot of people probably will already have something like this, but it's a whole bunch of Gothic Ruins to use with your sci-fi. So it gives you a bit more playability, a bit more cover, a bit more scatter terrain. Great for using either in wargaming or in skirmish gaming or anything like that as well. So just a nice one to have there. So that is Gothic Ruins by Forbidden Prints. And next up we've got Zali Factory, the one I always probably mispronounce. I've put here Simple Castle and Sci-Fi Buildings. Now when it comes to castles, they're always a pain in the bum to print if you've got an FDM printer, because everyone goes for these really fancy castles. But what I want from life is the old, simple, old hammer castle that they used to sell. I used to have one ages ago and it's gone missing. And it's quite a simple castle, this one, so it looks like it'd be really easy to print. But obviously it still adds that playability. It's still a castle and everyone loves a castle. And also you've got all these like little sci-fi buildings and barricades and stuff like that. So depending if you're into sci-fi or if you're just into your fantasy, it's a decent amount here. I think it does have an overview of how to print the printer, print the castle. Let's quickly pop that up. There it is. So it gives you all the different pieces. It should be pretty easy just to print it all off and then put together without having to do like 100 different print loads. And then finally, we are moving on to Kickstarters. The first one we've got is Forgotten Towns, which is a whole bunch of ruins. And again, it's nice to have some of these ruins, and this gives you a whole bunch of them. So if we go through, this is one called My Dungeon Forgotten Towns. And you can see there's a whole bunch of different things here. So if we go through it, gives you an overview there. Basically a fantasy village that's all ruined and destroyed. Again, great to use as either a skirmish game, if you're playing any kind of wargaming, even things like D&D and stuff, just to have it that you've got all of these different things, they're all playable, the buildings, you can pull the different top parts off it. There's a lot to like about this one. I really like all of their pictures as well. They're all beautifully painted with all like the renders and stuff like that. I really like those lovely backdrops. They make them look very artistic. Hey, and speaking of that, there's even a guy painting the backdrops and stuff there. So a whole bunch of stuff there, and definitely worthwhile having a look at if you need that sort of scatter terrain and destroyed village, basically. Next up, I've got a medieval town. I think this is one where you choose how much you want to pay for it, and there's a selection of 3 different buildings. Yep. So pay what you want. So this is called Pay What You Want Medieval RPG Town Set 11. So here you go. You've got all your different like buildings. So there's a selection of 3 of them. They're all like, you can pull them apart, so they print off in different parts, and then you've got different bits that you can play in. Again, great for D&D, but also again for wargaming and skirmish gaming and stuff like that, because everything's playable inside of them, which is always nice. And you've got this weird like marsh witch hut. I thought it was going to be like a beehive type thing, but clearly I'm very wrong. And then this one, I really like that. It's an interesting looking building, different to anything else I've seen recently. So again, a lot to like there. Shows you all the different parts that they come off in as well. So if it fits onto smaller printers, shows you all the playability inside of it, all the interior's done as well. So you can go wild if you want to. You can paint that inside and really make it look nice. So a lot going on there. And last but not least is a modular space station. Now these seem to come up every single month, but not everybody's going to have pledged to one of these every single month. So if you're into having basically this big old modular space station, then here's one for this month as well. So if you're doing something like Space Hulk, for example, or if you just want to have some kind of kill team inside of a big old space station, you've got it. You've got all the different corridor pieces, all the different door pieces. You can get it all printed off, it all clips together. You can move it around. Great for any kind of, I guess, if you wanted to take like the Nemesis board game, for example, and make it 3D rather than just all top down, you could do that and have an absolute blast with it. There's loads of pieces with this one that you can get, and I think it just looks a lot of fun. Space shuttles and stuff like that. All your different bits of like cargo terrain and stuff to go in there as well. So if you haven't already picked one of these up over the past few months, where they always seem to show up, again, it's a nice one there and another opportunity for people. So that is it for this month's roundup. I've fired through that one this month because A, it's really hot at the moment, and also I appear to be losing my voice. So yay, my wife will be very happy. I won't be able to talk much. So hope you've enjoyed that. Throw down in the comments below any that you think that I've missed, that other people should be checking out. Head over to the website, we'll have it all linked as well. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, happy printing, and I'll see you soon. Bye.